Hello and welcome to the second episode of Gents Talking Current Events. I'm Paul, this is my brother Joe, and our nephew James.
It's good.
What are we doing
to be back? Today we're going to be talking about the 4th of July and if it's been canceled or not.
Really?
Will robots replace us in sporting events? Which is the one story I'm so excited to talk about. And that Jeff Bezos got married again. Which all three of us either have or are currently been married.
Yes.
So we're very excited. Let's get going. All right, Paul, what do you want to talk about first?
Let's do it. Jeff Bezos.
Jeff Bezos got married. Oh, cheers.
Cheers. Cheers. Cheers.
Thank you, gentlemen. Jeff Bezos got married.
Third richest man in the world.
Okay.
Did it. 3-day event in Vienna, Italy.
Cost $50 million.
$50 million. Hey, to be your own, get married. He's the third richest man. Mm-hmm. But what I don't understand, what I'm really upset about is for the number of packages that show up at my front porch that my wife buys, I honestly feel I should have been invited.
It's true.
We paid a percentage of that way.
So didn't
How much? Bezos, invite me.
But wait, didn't his first divorce turn his ex-wife into one of the richest women in the world?
Probably. I don't know.
No,
this is the one story I didn't research.
I believe so, yes.
But they got divorced, I believe, in 2019. So
They were married.
Was that before
They got married in, I looked it up today, 1993 maybe? They were married 25 years or more. He started it in 94, and it became pretty well used by 95.
So they grew with the business. Hats off to him.
Yeah,
go ahead, rock it.
He's getting married again.
He
He had to have a pretty serious prenup or something like that, because like I said, the first time.
How much is he worth now?
He's
got to be worth 247 billion.
B with a billion.
Yeah,
that's money that you can't even comprehend. At least he can obviously, but I couldn't comprehend even a hint of that.
But just to put it in perspective, if he has $250 billion of net worth, mm-hmm. if you had that money and access to it, mm-hmm. and started spending $1 million every year, mm-hmm. do you know how long it takes you to spend that?
Well, 100 million.
It takes you 250,000 years.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's money that we don't understand. Maybe someday I will.
But hopefully. But at that point, what is money at that point? If you literally can do anything, be anything, go anywhere, there's nothing stopping you. What is after $1 billion? What's it worth?
And what do you spend the money on?
500 million. What's it worth? What would you use that money for?
Oh, well, you can't even get out of its own way. You could go spend $50 million,
and you wouldn't even know.
And the interest of what's sitting in wherever is going to keep growing faster than you spend it.
But in that kind of situation, generation after generation after generation should be set.
And that's the one thing I thought of.
And he's worth 237 billion. Elon Musk, I think, is worth just over 400 billion.
Yeah. So that's
it's crazy.
So then, as you're the kid, you're Jeff Bezos' kids or Elon Musk's kids. Unless that money's not coming to you until you prove yourself as a human being, with education and with ability to live a life, what's the point of even working working towards something or worry? You know what I mean?
What's our U.S. population right now?
360 million, I believe, or right around there.
Mm-hmm. So 400 billion. This calculator won't even do it, will it?
Yeah, it should. Are you going to figure out how much? Sideways. Are you going to figure out how much?
Did you figure this out?
I did figure it out.
So 400.
That's only 4 billion.
4 billion.
Two more zeros.
Divided by 360 million. Right?
One more.
Oops, I gotta go back.
So ever since this wedding came out, there's been people. I don't know how big the protests are, if they're worth even talking about.
He could give $1,100 to every single person in the United States.
Mm-hmm. There's articles now, tons of news articles coming out saying that how much could Jeff Bezos give to every single American? How much could Jeff Bezos give to every single American over 18? Or just with the drivers, that all of these, because I think when you start to talk about that wealth, those questions come up, they have to.
But like when I think about $400 billion, to hear that every American would get $1,100 and it's done.
That's really...
It's not that much. Like I would have thought it would have been more.
Yes, here's what I thought. I thought it would have been more. I would have wished it would have been more. It really wouldn't make that big of a difference. But
someone check our math.
Yeah. You want to know what's really funny? Is that these news articles, and I have to pull them back up, these news articles are saying, it may not sound like much, but it's as much as a stimulus check.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's something.
It's something.
Definitely.
But I just like the way that they are spinning it to make it seem like that would radically change your life. Hey, if anybody's got 20 grand, that would radically change my life. You know what I mean?
Well, they go all the way back to Rockefeller, here when he was worth what he was worth, his people around him, his accountants and stuff, they were like, you gotta start giving this money away. Because it's going to just keep growing to a number, and it's going to get so massive. You got to start being a philanthropist and pass it along and put in.
Yeah, 100%.
Parks and
Carnegie too
gave a lot of stuff away, more to libraries and colleges and schools, because in his thought, then
you're furthering the country. You're furthering
as opposed
people.
to just giving it to someone. You're putting it in a form of.
Did he really have to get married?
Why not, Joe?
But I mean, did he?
I'm happily married.
No, but it's your first marriage, and you're not worth $400 billion.
Yeah, that's true. But at that point, are you just trying to say at that point, what's the point?
No, I mean, like, I don't know. Like, I mean,
it must be true love.
Are you not going to get married again? Oh. Sorry, I shouldn't have said that without you saying it first.
I don't know. I mean, could have crossed my mind.
A possibility.
If she comes along and she's got a bookstore worth $400 million, I'd consider it.
Yeah, right.
That is the funny thing, that it started off him just selling books. Mm-hmm. And then he had to change the slogan of it to the store for everything, or you can get everything or something.
Mm-hmm. No, it's amazing, and it's just crazy to see how the world's reacting to that.
Not that, her opinion means anything, but I saw a headline, Rosie O'Donnell is mad at him for having this big, huge, multi-million-dollar wedding, and calls his wife a fake fembot wife.
Oh, jeez.
You know what a fembot is?
I do not know.
Came from that movie. Remember the fembots in Austin Powers? They were like these beautiful women, and they would seduce the man, and then they would. Breast had boobs. Boop, boop.
They would shoot them.
Breast had guns.
Oh my! So she's calling her a robot.
A robot fake wife.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Well, moving on, I want to get to the story that I'm absolutely dying to talk about, and that's if robots will replace us in sporting events.
Why do you always laugh?
This is so funny. We're going to watch the video.
Okay.
You guys are in for a treat. My son and I, who's 3, this gives you an example. We watched this for 30 minutes straight. It is so good.
It says it's only a 1-minute clip. And you watched it that many times?
Please don't judge me. Basically, what's going on is in China, they're working fairly hard to incorporate robots into sports. And the end goal that they're mentioning is that they want them to be able to incorporate them into everyday life, help them with mundane tasks, help with nursing, anything like that.
The Jetsons.
Yeah, right. Back in April, they had a marathon where humans ran, but also robots. Out of 22 robots that ran, 6 made it. A half marathon. It was a half marathon, sorry.
Made it to the end.
Made it to the end. The one that got across the finish line first had to be recharged 2 times. The goal was to have a robot get across the finish line without being charged. And it's a competition between different companies. So there's multiple companies working with these robots. So in April they had a marathon, and today, or not today, but a couple days ago, they had a soccer game. Uh-huh. And this went swimmingly. These robots are about the size of small children.
So wait, back to the marathon.
Yeah.
Was it sunny or cloudy?
It was sunny. I watched some videos of it.
So they could have put a little mini solar powered vest on the guy because he's running all day long or half a 100%. Day. He could have got recharged on his own, right?
Well,
if the solar power was that.
How good solar power is. I mean, in theory, yeah.
But these robots are about the size of small children. They have cameras in their face. They're using AI to be able to manipulate what they're supposed to do. And
so they've taught these robots how to play soccer.
Basically.
And now they're getting to the point.
Well, you'll see. It's not the greatest soccer, but it's pretty great. Okay, let's watch.
I've been to a few.
But he stood up. That's impressive.
I've been to a few youth soccer games.
Yes, you're grabbing them. It looks the same, right?
He put those handles on them to actually pull them back.
Wait. Oh my gosh. They didn't make it.
They're putting them on stretchers.
Oh my gosh.
They can't quite get to the ball.
Do they make a goal?
They do, and when they make a goal, it is so great. When they make a goal, the robots put their arms straight up. They put their arms straight up. And I love it.
So
that is so great to me.
Obviously, they have a little bit more to go.
They do have a little bit more to go.
So our 10-year episode reunion is going to be to watch how advanced they became.
So that's the question that I've been dying to pose.
It's going to get crazy.
Is would you watch? Now they have kickboxing, and the kickboxing is not intense. I really started looking into this. They have kickboxing with these robots, and basically the robot sees its opponent and it just swings or it just kicks, and they're able to do full
and come back and stay balanced.
I mean, that was pretty incredible compared to this. Yes. They're able to really move their bodies and just get back up. But if there was a full sport, a full game of soccer being played by those robots, and they really know what they're doing, would you be entertained?
I don't know.
I think
it would be like you're programming them to be similar or very equal. I think what makes sporting events today very interesting is you got levels of talent that have to be worked on and trained and like
there's always one guy on the field that is typically better than all of them.
That just seems to supersede.
Like in soccer, there's a guy that, and then golf. Football,
you go back.
Golf, Tiger Woods.
You go back to like Larry
Everyone
Bird.
was striving for that. So in this,
you go back to Larry Bird days. I think of that guy being one of the best shooters ever. Okay, but he could shoot really, really well, and they were amazing back then. But if you put those same guys on the field today, or on the court today, with the basketball players we have on the court today, like the massive size, the structure, the frame on them, how would they truly compare? I think the shooting part would still do well, but athletes have become
more athletic,
pretty substantial.
But you're avid. I would say avid golfer. You and your son.
Yeah.
If you don't mind if I mention.
Yeah.
So how would you feel with a robot competing alongside you?
Well, they have those robots that take a club and swing it, and they can hit the exact yardage, they can hit the exact thing. Precise. Like they don't miss it.
That's the only thing that I thought of is in a live sport. Right now, at least in terms of AI, the human brain is able to
react quick.
Not only react, but it's able to just think outside the box. The robot is only able to think in what was programmed, what it knows, and there's how many different iterations. I'm thinking like football. How many different iterations could be going on at one given moment, and a human can see all that and think outside of the box and do something crazy.
But when they can take the technology of AI or computer that can find information so fast, like an accountant sitting at a desk going through stuff would take so long to find something, but you put it into the computer and it, I don't know, you know what I'm saying? It has like a recall, and it can find all of that. Like if you tell it, we need this sequence of numbers, it's going to find it. So if they can take that quickness and find a way to put it into the robots, then it will be.
We were watching the tail end of golf this past weekend. They went into a 5-hole playoff. It came down to nerves.
There's no nerves in robots.
Neither of the two pros that were in the final holes of the playoff had ever won a tournament yet. So they're looking for their first victory. They're young, stress, like the tension that was building. So that's a mindset there where it's like, who's going to just perform? I think at one point in time, we're going to watch that soccer game, and they're just going to be like,
yeah,
and passing with precision and playing.
The crowd's not going to impact the.
Yeah,
right, yeah. If home field advantage really shouldn't be a thing.
No, it wouldn't.
No.
You know, and once again, if you look at some of the hundreds of articles that are out there, some of like this one here says a bumbling game of robot soccer was a breakthrough. There was another, that is not the most glamorous title for what they're doing. Another one was the crowd roared as a game of soccer was played by only robots. Like we talked about last episode. When you look at different news medias, there's different spins and all that stuff, and I didn't really hear the crowd roaring very much. No. I mean, if I don't know about you guys, I would be looking for them. It's like I'd be looking for them to mess up.
I could see though where these, robots, athletic robots, whatever you want to call them, could be used to help train. Like, have robots on the basketball court blocking, like kids that are practicing, having them show them better techniques, or, I could see where it could become more and more integrated.
Mm-hmm. You know what that reminds me of a little bit? What was it called where you build a machine and then try to destroy each other?
Oh, yes.
Like the combat.
And that was the combat machines.
What
and that was
Robo?
Yeah, I don't know. Something. But that was the beginning of that.
Yes.
But it was all controlled.
It had blades and spinners.
Yeah. And you make a machine, you put it in there, it's in a room. And
those are awesome to watch.
It was.
Those are
They'd
really
have a hammer
cool.
on it.
Yeah.
I don't know. But you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was like the first iteration of robot versus robot. And any kind of, that's combat in essence, but in a competitive form of robotics. I just thought it was cool. I know I've been literally laughing about it all day. It's just it was just different to see.
It's funny
that going on. Yeah, he was just going down.
And it will be interesting to see 1 or 2 or 4 more years down the road, how much more they're going to keep working.
Well, I don't think it was too long ago.
No,
that they had a robot that could walk and then jump. And the progression, you can go find it, the progression of it, and now you got these robots walking upstairs, falling down and getting up. So, and that's probably only been 5-6 years, 10 at the tops. So
it's the same as AI. I think as soon as it starts to grow, it's almost
you're
exponential.
right. We should, on our 10-year anniversary, sit down and say, where are the robot athletes at?
It won't be us. It will be robots.
Robots listening to robots.
Doing our show.
Today's Monday, June 30th, I believe. 4th of July is coming up.
Oh, yeah.
You gentlemen are going on vacation.
Uh-huh.
My wife and I were going to a very exciting parade that we go to every single year. But a lot of people online are telling us we need to cancel it.
Who's saying we need to cancel?
Yeah, what's going on?
Everybody on TikTok. I mentioned before, I don't have a TikTok. Most people. Not most people. Some people.
Why do they want to cancel it?
Because they're unhappy with the current political activities that are going on. They're unhappy with Trump. They're unhappy with how the war in Iran was handled. They're unhappy with
whatever.
Anything.
The world.
Anything and everything.
Bad.
They're upset about what America has done to come to where it is today with slavery and with. Yeah, trust me. If you start watching some of these videos, people will be talking about today in the current events and saying we should boycott it because we're unhappy. We're being used. This isn't a free country anymore. To then some people claiming that we shouldn't be celebrating 4th of July because of the egregious history that our country has faced. And I don't know about you guys. I went to a party yesterday with fireworks, and 3 little kids started singing the national anthem. Or the Star Spangled Banner, and everybody was singing it by the end. So I don't know how many people are actually going to boycott it. I don't know why you would. I don't know what the.
I don't know. Have you heard about this? I'm celebrating 4th of July. If they don't want to celebrate,
it's a free country.
It's a free country. Do what you want. That's the great thing about it. I think that over time, the United States has had some bad times and stupid things that we've done and wrong things, but I think the United States has always strived to be better and get better, especially on human rights and things like that.
100%.
As for them being upset with Trump, then they're going to always be upset with Trump, and
I think it's just a mentality you have to hold.
There's a certain segment of people that are always going to be mad.
They're not going to cancel him here because if we were not out of town, my street over here, these neighbors put on a phenomenal display of fireworks.
I mean, it's one of the more like activity-driven holidays. It's right in the middle of summer or right at the beginning of summer. You got fireworks, you got grilling, you got games. I mean, what else? I did see some people on TikTok saying that they're still going to do all the festivities, but they're not going to do it for the same reasons as everybody else. They're still going to cook out, they're still going to blow fireworks off, but they're not going to be patriotic while they're doing it.
Okay.
At that point, I mean, if you're going to boycott it, if you're going to really go all the way, go all the way. You know what I mean?
What?
If you're gonna try to make a statement, then make a statement and don't do anything.
It's unfortunate that people feel that negative about the United States.
In the country you live in.
Right.
I may not like something that's going on. I may not have liked previous administrations, but I'm still America 100% all the time. It's the country I live in. I'm not going to do or be anything else. So
it doesn't mean that we don't agree with everything that's going on.
100%.
But you still have
no matter who the president is,
so much opportunity here. Like you can wake up in the morning and choose to think about negative things that you don't think are right or that are wrong or whatever, or you can choose to go out and do positive things or continue to grow yourself or grow a business or do whatever, or like there's just so much opportunity. We are not limited to a lot of other restrictions a lot of other countries have on their people.
Right.
You know? So 4th of July, here we come, fireworks and all.
Or with even other countries. There are some countries that they're having parades and festivals for their leaders, and you better be there.
Right.
You better be patriotic in that sense, or you're going to be in prison. I mean, that's not happening here. If you want to put no 4th of July in your yard and don't do fireworks and bunker down, no one's going to stop you, which is a beautiful thing.
Well, that's like, for the most part, we had the 250th anniversary parade in Washington, D.C., June, what was it, 16th?
I'm not 100% on that.
You know, and there was a lot of people that wanted to kind of protest that, and so on the same day, usually, I think at the same time-ish, there's the No Kings rallies, protests, whatever you want to call them, but, you know, they were able to do that in a country. And, you know, I mean, unless someone did something stupid, I don't think anyone got arrested.
No, the No Kings protest, from what I read, it was smooth, but it was actually an older population that had joined that, you know, that riot, not riot, but a protest.
Yeah, it was a protest.
It was demographically older generation. It was peaceful, more peaceful, and I don't
think, I mean, to the point of thinking that the United States is so bad. I don't think you have a No King's Day parade.
If you have a king.
In North Korea.
Yeah. Or if you have a king in general that you don't like.
Iran.
Yeah.
Or Iran,
however you want to say it.
Iran.
2 A's, Joe. Two I's, Joe. Yeah.
Get it?
Yeah, that skit was so funny.
So you brought something up about cell phones.
Oh yeah.
And how you're banning them during the podcast. Is that correct? No,
yes.
No, that's not it.
No.
What was the story?
It's the Los Angeles School District, which is the second largest in the United States. They passed a bill, or not a bill, but a ruling that no cell phones at all for K through 12th, and no social media during the school day.
How are they going to cover that? Do you know?
I don't know all the logistics on it. They were just mentioning that they're doing that. It's too much of a distraction.
100%.
And that social media can be dangerous with all of the different avenues that it can be dangerous. And so they say that the kids need a break and the school day will be it. Now, I don't know. I kind of feel like it's a good thing.
Well,
to the point of, and then some parents have brought that up, like what happens if there's an emergency at the
I was
school.
just going to say, if something major happened, the kids had to get
I just
a hold
don't know
of
why the kids can't maybe bring it and everyone has like a lockbox. And then...
Are they saying they can't even have it on the property?
I don't know if it's that far. They just can't. They're not supposed to be with the cell phones at school.
But we weren't, when I was in school, I mean, I didn't have a smartphone until I was a senior. Smartphones were around, but I just didn't have one, you weren't allowed to have it out, but during lunch or during,
But I think it's gotten different. I mean, like, Luca probably has his phone most of the time, right?
He can text me in between classes, hey, I got this going on with golf, or I got to be here, we got to do that. Like, he will communicate with me, but I don't think they're allowed. Like, they can't just be sitting in the classroom, like, while they're being taught. Like, they can't have the phones out.
So how is that? How are they not governing that?
I don't know.
To where they need to say you're not allowed to bring the phone in the school. You know what I mean? Like, where was that disconnect? And then at the same exact time,
maybe they just haven't had that much problems
issue with it.
I mean, I could see it being a distraction, being on the phone, and then obviously social media.
Or maybe the school system that put a kibosh on that is having so much problems that the cell phone use is just taking over.
I mean, and this affects, that school district has, I think, almost 500,000 students in it. That's how big it is.
My high school had like 400 when I graduated. My class was 100.
Yeah.
Like 100
and that was the whole
kids.
School district.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And the 500,000?
Yeah.
That's
And the
crazy.
number one, who's number one? School district. New York.
Sure.
Almost 1 million. Kids in that school district. But I don't know. So it's going to affect a lot of kids. And
well, I mean,
but then I think also if you have the phone in school, you could videotape someone doing something, post it on social media. So I think there's a lot of
going on, a fight maybe. They can break their phone out and record
so now
real quick.
There's none of that going on. I mean, we didn't have anything like that growing up. There was no cell phones. There was no...
Well, when you left school when we were kids and you went home, you left that at school because...
You got away from it.
You couldn't get bombarded on social media. If you were being bullied or picked on or whatever, it didn't continue for the rest of the evening. Mm-hmm. Like, right now, a kid could come home from school, he could have a bad group of friends, they could be, I don't know what they do now, snapping each other or whatever, they could be throwing bad comments back and forth. That poor kid could get, for the rest of the evening into the next day, he's still being bombarded by that.
As opposed to when we were in school and there was none.
And you can go and look it up and you can relive that experience or that joke again. Now that it is, and then I also just very briefly read a couple comments on it, and the parents are more making about what happens if there's an emergency at the school.
Sure.
Then you need to, once again, if there is a second question about it, you need to make something that's over. If there's an emergency, okay, you have a way to contact parents immediately. You have a blast text message to go out to every single cell phone of a parent.
Well, and I think they're getting pretty good about that now because we get messages, texts when there's something going on.
Mm-hmm. But at that point, you guys just had kids in high school.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have. I only have a memory of high school. You guys had kids in high school. Let's say that the schools that your kids attended were saying you cannot bring the phone into the building. Like,
I would be okay with it, but because Isabella, when she was, in first grade, she didn't have a phone.
That's true. Yeah.
And the kids today in first grade, I hope they don't have a phone. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, like, what age do you give them a phone? I mean, some people 10, some people 12, but so anything under that, they don't even have a way of contacting them. Mm-hmm. Anyways.
And then what's the main reason why a parent would give a phone to a child at 10, 12, and it's just the ability to communicate.
Right.
Because right now that a parent is, like right now, my wife and I, we can call or text any moment during the day and I can know exactly what's going on. And then when that kid's old enough to drive or walk to something, you've lost that instant communication, and that's where a parent might be like, I need that compared to where it wasn't necessary. I saw a funny little skit where it was the kids back in the 90s and the parents are sitting on the front lawn, they're enjoying their evening, and then the mom's like, where do you think Joey's at? He's probably around here in the neighborhood, probably a couple blocks, and then it cuts to the kid, and he's like 3 towns over, riding on the back of a truck from some stranger, you know what I mean?
But she didn't know anything.
No, and they had no idea what was going on.
Today, though, she could have Life 360 on him and know as soon as he gets too far away.
Yeah. And they would have known the difference, and he gets back hopefully before dark, and you hope everything went okay on that.
I mean, but that was the way it was. Like, my dad would go off to work, and he could be gone for 10 hours, And I think he would try to call mom from the payphone.
Like on a lunch break.
On a lunch break.
Just to check in. How are the kids? You guys okay?
And if she happened to be outside or something going on and she didn't answer, they didn't talk. Until, like, they had no contact. And if she wanted to get a hold of him, she had to call to work, have someone give him a message.
And it wasn't even like...
But like you said today, now it's just instantaneous. All day long. Which is... probably
well, you go, today, if I go play a round of golf, with you and Luke or whatever, and we're on the golf course for 4.5 hours. Back in the day,
you were just out there.
You were on the golf course. Mm-hmm. You didn't know if somebody was trying to get a hold of you. You didn't know if your mom or your sister, your girlfriend was saying, "Hey, you got to pick up, something from the grocery store on the way home. Can you grab this for me?" You went,
you did
your whole thing, and you came back home.
When you just hoped everything was still afloat when you got back.
Yeah.
But not even that. You were hoping it was still afloat. You didn't even think that, like, if I were to not have my phone for 3 days and I wasn't able to contact my wife during the day at work, it'd probably give me a little bit of anxiety.
Oh, for sure. Yes.
But when you went to the golf course with no cell phone, everything was just peachy keen.
Well, like if you would to make it, today, if you did make it onto the golf course and you're in, hole number 2 and you realize, I left my phone in the car and I'm with Paul, I might say, hey, text Luca and text somebody else that I forgot my phone.
Yeah.
So if they're looking for me, they're not going to hear from me for
incognito.
2 hours. Yeah.
That's funny.
But there's some people that do this. They go away.
And they drop their phone.
Yeah. Like someone from church that will just be like, I'm going to this cabin and I'm spending the night, all day, all night, the next day, and come home, and they leave their phone at home.
My wife and I's honeymoon. It was 7 days. We stayed in Amish country in Ohio, and we did do that. And I think on the 3rd day, my wife was like, I'm just going to text someone to make sure they know where, because we literally went dark. I think we had our phone to just pull up a GPS to get where we needed to go. It was the main, you could get to the main road easy. We were more just like free spirited. But I was the same exact thing. Like day 3, we're like, okay, we're going to let somebody know we're alive and breathing. And
if you had a $50 million wedding, though, you wouldn't have to worry about telling anybody.
No. But you know what? Like, if you leave your house and you don't have your cell phone, I've done that a couple times, you turn around and go back. I mean, I've gotten as bad as, like, I'm starting to walk in the bathroom and I don't have my phone on me. I'm like, I gotta go get my phone. I can't sit in here for...
They used to have magazine racks, in the bathroom.
Yeah.
Yes, you're right.
Now you have literally
phone rack.
Which that was just like the most disgusting thing.
That was terrible.
It's just these.
And that's why you spend 30 minutes in the bathroom at work.
I do not. Yeah, sitting on my phone. Watch the latest TikTok.
Yeah, but that's another point. You mentioned last week you wanted to bring it up, which we never did. And that's that the schools in Texas in gym class.
Well, Texas state Senate or whatever government wants to pass a bill to make all students, I think it was K through 8th, have 30 minutes of physical activity of some sort during the day at school. And along with that, like a program and teaching them how to eat better. And with that, they want to put like almost labels on certain foods that have dyes and chemicals in it that says whether or not it can cause cancer or it's harmful for you. But like it's going to be on there, kind of like the label that was on, or the warning that was on cigarette boxes. So,
well, California has that now, where most things that you buy from California has a warning: this may cause cancer. And it's a lot of the products that are out there. You know what I mean?
So the argument is that people will make better choices, and then other people are like, don't waste your time. People already know what's bad, and they eat it.
Yeah, when I think back to like our calisthenics when we were young, I mean, we did push-ups, we did sit-ups, we climbed those ropes in the gym to the top. Yeah. You were a stud.
I mean, I did too. I wasn't a stud. I can definitely tell you that.
But you were a stud.
Yeah.
If they were timing you, the gym teacher would be there with a stopwatch, and you get on that rope, and you go pop, 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 you tap that beam, and you come flying right back down. Like, there was a lot of more.
I never made it
Well, there's a lot more of
Made it
that.
to the top.
You know, I mean, we did jump ropes, we did sit-ups, we did push-ups. There was a lot of calisthenics that were going on.
I wonder, is it like that still in
I don't know. When I was in school, I graduated in 2014. So in high school, in high school I did not have to do PE because I was in marching band.
Okay.
And a lot of people say marching band's not, but we were out there for hours practicing in the sun. I played the tenors, and there was the drums that you wear in your chest.
Yeah. No, that's exercise, definitely, for sure.
So I didn't have to play, but I know that in my high school, they didn't do like you have to do this yet. You at the beginning of the year, how many push-ups can you do? How many sit-ups can you do? How many pull-ups can you do? How many jump ropes can you do in 60 seconds? How long does it take you to run a mile? Then you did your regular PE, and as long as you beat your
personal best
at the beginning of the year,
I think I
you might have
vaguely
done
remember
it. You might have had to do
it
it
being that way
in the half year mark. As long as you were able to, you were showing progress. You were doing it. And for me, I remember in middle school we had to do the rope. I could not do the rope. So if you couldn't get up the rope, that was your starting point. And
so as long as you got up,
you were better. You know, you're doing one pull up. Well, as long as you get two.
So if you're a good sandbagger, you just go really light in the beginning.
You're smart.
That's what I did. No, no, but yeah, you could.
But my daughter, who just graduated from high school a year ago, she did not take one gym class the whole time.
But did she do any other elective that would have given her the credit?
You had a chance to do exercise on your own and then just fill it in. But you only had to do it for one semester.
Really?
It wasn't once a year. It was just one PE for the whole time that you were in. Because I told her, do it your freshman year because she doesn't like doing all that.
Wait, the entire high school you only had to do it one time?
One time. So that's what I'm saying. Like, have we gotten that far off? She only had to take it one time. You had to take it one time in high school, and it was for a half of a year, I think. And I told her.
I thought you would do a quarter a year. You know what I mean? That's why if you would have asked me before we had this conversation, what is the PE requirements in high school? And I'd be like, I don't know. You know, a quarter of the year you're in a PE class and that's it. You know what I mean? But the fact that
we've gone a long ways from like maybe,
but what
40s, 50s and stuff like that all the way to
well, you watch those videos of those guys in high school from 1940s.
I think John F. Kennedy was the big one where he had a lot of like major calisthenics workouts, like
bringing it back into the schools.
Yeah.
But those guys were doing monkey bars like it was nothing. They were all, they were all slim. They all could do everything that was. They were going through those courses like it was nothing. And it may be the food. It may be genetic. It could be a million different things.
Where it goes to, like, I guess what they're trying to say is if they start young, plus putting warning labels on food and maybe steer people away from the chemicals and the processed food, that will get healthier. So I started looking it up, and in trying to think what year it was. I think it was like 40 years ago. There was no state that had the obesity rate in the United States was around 15%.
15?
Yeah.
Okay. Today
it's over 40. So like we have gotten so much worse in just 40 years.
But before that, 80 years ago, what was the obesity rate?
And it's pretty much, it went up 3 times in children too. Obesity rate.
Yeah. Which is just, it's sad, it's terrible. We definitely need to try to do something.
But then again, like I looked up, they measure it by BMI. So I'm 5'10", I weigh 195. I'm overweight.
But
if I weighed 209, I'm obese and above.
Jeez.
Yeah. So my like normal weight, I looked it up, it was like between 150 and like 172. And I really couldn't imagine myself being 150 or 155.
But you have different body builds. You have people that are, like, even if you're not
broader
tall,
shoulders, bigger. Like I feel like we have smaller frames.
But even if you're the same height, you're just a sleeker human being. You know what I mean? It's not even just the fact. So maybe they need to change the way it's addressed in that in that manner, because it is pretty sad that in 40 years alone, I mean, before, it's not like 100 years ago it was at 40%, they got it down to 15, and then it came back. No, it's been at least lower than 15%.
I feel like we've just progressively gotten worse.
Yeah.
Especially in the past 30 years.
I think a lot of it just comes down to the convenient foods that were made today that weren't available back then. So you literally made more food that was handmade, it was natural, more natural. You go back 30, 40, 50 years ago.
Yeah.
There wasn't
less processed.
There wasn't a lot of these convenient foods that you could just go and grab.
And we ate a home cooked meal almost
all the
every
time.
night.
And from the garden.
Yeah.
We had a garden.
But today, how often are you actually cooking your dinner?
Well, I'm not. Not saying this because I'm saying, we stick to a very tight budget. So my wife and I know that going out to eat is very expensive.
But even picking up food, like I feel like
at the grocery store
or fast food. I feel like a lot of families have transitioned from, because we're all busy.
Yeah, it's hard not to. Yeah. It's almost so much easier.
I eat once a week.
You eat once a week?
Once a week. Yeah. Every Tuesday.
So you eat out once a week?
No, I eat once a week. Tomorrow's my date I can eat.
How are you alive?
I'm kidding.
You thrive off bourbon and cigars for the rest of the week, and then you eat one time.
I treat myself.
Is it
a
big meal? Like the
Rock,
Rockets is a big stack of pancakes.
It's a side of beef.
But I did look it up once. They said as long as you drink enough water, you could actually go 2 to 3 months without food.
What?
No, thank you.
Depending upon how much fat you have on your body.
No, thank you. I'm good.
You don't want to do
No.
Should we try like a 5-day fast?
No.
The next episode, next week, we'll be back and
see who did it.
We're all just keeled over on the couch.
We're just sitting here.
Yeah. Well, I think
they never moved.
I think to wrap this up, feel good story.
Yes.
We've got basically a lady online. Everything's on TikTok or Instagram or whatever it is nowadays. Lady online was eating dinner or breakfast or lunch, eating out with her child, and there was an 81-year-old that was waitressing them. And she was 81. She was not jumping around like a 22-year-old that was doing stuff. The lady thought her service was exceptional. She started asking her a couple questions like, hey, why aren't you retired? She just simply said, I cannot retire. And she said with earnest, but I can outdo any of these young whippersnappers around me. So the lady felt bad, and she posted online that they needed to raise money for him. They were able through GoFundMe to raise $300,000
wow.
for that waitress.
Wow, nice.
That is incredible.
So now hopefully if she invests it right, she can retire and...
Hopefully. I mean, that's just amazing that you have the initiative to do that. If I have the money to, and I have a very good waitress experience, especially, like we went out to dinner not too long ago, and there was the gentleman next to us being extremely rude to our waitress, and she's holding back tears, she's apologizing, and we're saying there's nothing wrong, you're doing your job, we're patient. So we gave her a heavier tip because we know that guy ain't gonna go do that. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But to be able to muster up that kind of money for someone that obviously needs it, you're 81.
Yeah.
That's the whole point of that part of your life, is to be done.
But the GoFundMe thing is pretty amazing.
Mm-hmm. That is really cool.
You spread it around, and people all of a sudden strangers are.
I'm a pretty generous tipper, just because I think the fact that the hours that come with being a server.
You don't get your weekends off.
You don't get your weekends. You don't get your nights.
If you want to make money, you're working.
You're working a lot, and I have the flexibilities and freedoms to be the one that's there to enjoy the dinner. So I try to be a little bit more conscious of that.
No, 100%.
Well, that's a good story. I like it.
It made me feel good when I read it, and I was like, this is going to be it. And that's the goal for this podcast. At least we're going to do one feel-good story in the middle at the end, just to try to lighten things up, because politics can be pretty nasty, and that's not what we want to be here, just pushing and peddling.
Life stories.
Yeah.
I thought the feel-good story was the robots.
Well, that was...
I know. That was funny story.
It was my feel-good story. And next week, we'll talk about it again. No, of course.
We're going to keep talking about it.
Any other topics?
As long as you add a little video in our podcast of the soccer.
Oh, I will.
So they can see
Everybody has seen it.
So we're going to
And if you're listening to this on Spotify, let's get into that. Please comment, like, subscribe.
Oh, yes.
We've gotten a couple comments. We've gotten a couple subscribers. Thank you so much. please do comment. If you have any questions you want us to answer like last week, throw them in the comments. Doesn't matter what
Give
it
us
is.
a question of the week.
Question of the week.
We don't have a question, but I'm saying they should ask us.
They should ask.
Comment a question of the week.
And we're also on Spotify, so if you're not able to watch the full video on YouTube, you can follow us on Spotify. I think that's up and going. We also posted a couple shorts. You're a very popular man. We quite enjoy doing this. This is only the second episode, but
if you haven't noticed, we're just three guys just talking.
Three guys.
We really don't know much
at all.
No.
If anything,
see a headline story and we talk about it.
We're talking through our lived experiences.
Sure.
Not through our hours of scouring the news
or we're just here for the cigar.
Yeah, I think that's your point, right? Mm-hmm. Awesome. Well, all right. Cheers, gentlemen. Yes. Thank you so much for watching.
Cheers.
Have a great one. This is Gents with Current Events.